Welcome back to the Shipyard. And another week. Shield Adaptation. This is a messy card. Um, no, it's a messy card with counters, mind you. But it's still a messy card. So what does this card do? Discard this card if this ship has no active shields. Okay, fine. Can only go on a hull 4 plus ship. It's unique. That's really good because if it was anything less than fleet unique, it would be problematic. But here's the really bad part. When defending, the attacking ship rolls -2 attack dice when firing a primary weapon and -1 attack die when firing a weapon upgrade. Now, certain things can punch through that. A scimitar, a bioship, the Borg. The problem is, most of those ships are relying on their primary weapons. So now, instead of firing 6 dice, they're firing 4. It brings them way back down to earth. But see, those are ships that haven't really been recosted. Those are ships that have paid a premium for their attacks. And more so, it's not like this is the only defensive trick you're running. You're probably running shield adaptation with Hood Riker, with some kind of a defensive captain on the Sutherland, on a gigantic Borg cube who doesn't care what happens because you still have 10 shields and 10 hull, and if you take a couple of damage, oh no. There's a lot of crazy stuff that can happen with shield adaptation. But here, I have a different purpose of bringing this card to the spotlight this week. I submit to you that shield adaptation is about the least fun card you can bring. It's less fun than attack cancellation. It's less fun than a whole lot of other things because your opponent just sits there and can't do anything. You see, there's very little worse feeling in a game of attack wing than being able to not play, than being up against an opponent, looking at their build and realizing that no matter what you do, you can't do anything to actually damage them. And now the reason I say this is so good on a Borg cube is that the named Borg cube, the only one that's worth running, is that it can't have its shields affected. Meaning you cannot use projected stasis field against that cube. Or if you do, its shields still stay up. So you have to incur 10 damage against its shields to get rid of shield adaptation. This card is not going anywhere. Your only other option is to run something like Second to 5 to forcibly remove the upgrade from their ship and get rid of it. Now, that is probably the best play. And I think this comes back to Second to 5 being a fantastic card. And a dependable source of removal, of ganking, that people don't always look out for. That's probably a video for another week. Probably one coming up soon. But shield adaptation is one without much you can do in a given game. If you build for it, yeah, sure. You can account for how to mess with it. But aside from that, it is a very, very, very powerful card. It is one I almost wish was faction locked, had to go on a Dominion ship, because I think it is that powerful. I think it is something that that really has no business being on other factions. It just ruins the fun quotient of the game. You see, at the end of the day, we are playing a game, and that game has to be fun in order for people to continue playing it. And if the game is not fun, people are not going to run it. They're not going to continue playing it, and they're going to be very frustrated with their experience. Now, I'm not saying the concept of shield adaptation is unique to the Dominion. In fact, it should, if anything, it should be a Borg card. But the Federation know how to adapt their shields. I'm sure the Klingons have a variant of it, as would the Romulans. Every faction has some form of adapting their shields to what they're encountering in battle and making adjustments. But as far as this being such a potent card, the thematicism just doesn't work for me. I would have much rather seen a much cheaper card that did a bit less. Or like a discard. Not an action discard, just a discard. I'm fine with all the conditions associated with it. It's fine, but there are just times where it really does hurt. So this is not me with sour grapes. I mean, I've run Shield Adaptation. I've played against Shield Adaptation. I've won. I've lost using it and playing against it. So I'm just trying to speak from a perspective of a few things going on, of looking at very strong cards that are very good, looking at cards that perhaps need to be examined for being too good, too effective, and cards that really make the game not fun to play. And again, I don't think that this is a deal breaker. I don't think this is up there with Wayun Veril. I mean, that's a combo we don't talk about much these days. I don't think it was nearly. I don't think Shield Adaptation is nearly as bad now that Colo can only act once a round. I mean, the solo. Sorry, the solo, the Colo Sutherland with Shield Adaptation was impossible to crack, because okay, you roll 2 less attack dice, and one of your hits is canceled, and Hood Riker's giving you an extra attack die, and you're converting a battle station, and you probably ran it with Sulu to get extra defense dice. It was just, there was no way to crack that ship. And it protected the entire fleet. So that's why something had to be done again about Colo. But I really do think Shield Adaptation was a big enabler in that build. And sometimes I wonder if Shield Adaptation might also need a slight tweak. I don't know. That's kind of the big summary. And that's also me figuring out how to stretch a video to 10 minutes. Yay! But all silliness aside, you know what? It's fun to talk about a specific card and how to make things work. But yeah, really excited with what's going on. I should note this is Thanksgiving week here in America, so if there are less uploads this week, just understand that's what's going on. I will personally be out of town. So that is life. And yeah, um, that's just how things are going to go. But I'm going to do my best to get recordings up ahead of time so that there is content for people to watch. I full well know view count will be down, but you know what? I still like to hope that there's people watching and content to come back to. So, yeah. All right. Hey, thank you all for watching, and until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care, guys.